And good evening, everybody, and welcome to the debut of the Hockey Night on Broad Flyers Pregame Show. Tonight, the Philadelphia Flyers play host on this Veterans Day night and a interconference matchup tonight against the San Jose Sharks. I am James Scorza, your host on this very important evening tonight as the Philadelphia Flyers take on San Jose for the first time in many occasions here, as we are also proudly sponsored by, or it's not sponsored, but we want to say thank you to everybody on the Hardcore Sports Network who are tuning in tonight to make sure that this is a success. Basically, my background is I have a show coming up in the next couple of weeks or so. So a special shout out to Mitch Kofsky and everybody else on the Hardcore Sports Network are making us feel like our home. Coming up in a couple of weeks from now, the Patterson Fanatics show will return on its very new home here on Hardcore Sports Network with yours truly, and also my colleague Joey Marks along the way. So before we get into our Shapiro tonight, we want to say want to reach out to a couple comments here. This is Daniel, the sports highlight guy. What's up, my man? How you doing? Hopefully it's a success for me as everybody else is too. But let's get into the program tonight as our key matchups of the game for this important matchup tonight between the Flyers and the San Jose Sharks, as the Flyers have looked very well as the last couple games have shown them to be very, very basically. I think the one thing I was really surprised about that last year at this point they were trying to find their footing with the new owner with Danny Briere and Keith Jones. And they're still trying to find their footing this year. They had a very good, very, very good road trip. More precisely, they got 3 points out of that Florida road trip. They won a game against Tampa Bay on Thursday night. That was on ESPN Plus, which, by the way, I did not see, but I heard it was a great game. Owen Tippett got the game winner on that shootout. I think it was the night that they lost to Carolina. I think it was the last minute of that game. So they were trying to go into overtime, but unfortunately it did not matter. And obviously the thing that really surprised me the most is that they took the game into overtime into a shootout rather, against the Florida Panthers on Saturday night, as Mitch Kofsky, like I just mentioned, is checking in. What's going on, brother? How you doing? Hopefully the Flyers can get off to a real good start tonight as they look to try to get off to a very good start at home, as obviously except the game on Thursday night against Ottawa, but they have a 6-game road trip. Sorry, not a 6-game road trip, a 6-game homestand coming up later on in the week. But let's get to the real factor and the elephant in the room that everybody was talking about in the last week. And that was the benching, according to John Tortorella, saying that the Flyers star, Matvei Michkov, was benched by the Philadelphia Flyers head coach. Precisely, I thought this was a very good idea for John Tortorella to see what he had in store. But the one thing I was really surprised about is that how many people were really hating this idea. I mean, if you saw players from the past, I could imagine the real factor is that this happened, but many times we're going back to Mike Richards, maybe Jeff Carter, Danny Briere, and so on and so forth. The one thing that the Flyers did well was this. I thought this was a very smart move. I really thought this was a very precise move by John Tortorella to say, okay, let's sit you down for a couple games just to clear your head. And this is nothing new here that John Tortorella has been benching players. I mean, he has done it with with the captain, Sean Couturier. He did it with Joel Farabee. He's done it so many times. I mean, it's not like John Tortorella is the only guy that does this. I can imagine Peter Laviolette did this back in his tenure. Maybe like Ken Hitchcock did this, or maybe, I mean, you're going to tell me that Bobby Clark or like Fred Shero didn't bench Bobby Clark or Reggie Leach by not playing well. It's basically to find their identity, and that's the most important thing. They had to find their identity, and tonight is no different against a very good I wouldn't say very good, but I would say a real tall task against a team that's still trying to find their identity in the San Jose Sharks. Do I like the move? Honestly, I thought it was a smart move for John Tortorella to bench Michkov for a couple games. It's not like it's the end of the world. If John Tortorella is doing this on the times when the Flyers are one step from making the postseason and he's benching a star player and he's going on a tear, then you got to be concerned about it. But honestly, it's a positive to really look out for a player, and also he also wants you to play at your very best as well. And the lack of capability for the Flyers, even tonight there's a couple players that are not playing tonight due to healthy scratches, so it's not like he's doing anything that's second nature here. But I will tell you this, anybody who thinks that John Tortorella was in and over his head about this, I sadly disagree. I don't think this was not a bad move whatsoever. I really believe that this was a very positive move for everybody to look forward, going forward for the Flyers, and especially as well as Earl Cole checks in and says, "Welcome aboard. Have a wonderful stream." Thank you, my friend. I really do appreciate it. And also check out his show every week on Hardcore Sports Network as well, as for everybody else included. So let's get into the real dive into the games here tonight, as the Flyers looking to try to bounce back after a very good road trip. But the biggest thing I took out of this game tonight is that San Jose came in, basically had a metropolitan road trip as they took on, I believe it was the Islanders, and yesterday against the New Jersey Devils. And they actually looked pretty well yesterday against New Jersey, and I think tonight's going to be a little bit of a concern for everybody to talk about here. So just keep your eyes on these two important players like Malcolm Celebrini, Will Smith, and some other goaltenders that they have, because they look like they are rebuilding, but they're kind of like the Flyers right now, and they are trying to have a positive rebuild and not know. I thought when they were 4-9-2, I was thinking, okay, they're still trying to find their footing. They're still trying to figure out who's who's playing where, and who's trying to find what the state of the San Jose Sharks hockey club is. Obviously, it's the same situation with the Flyers. They have the same kind of commonality about what they're trying to do, but they're pretty evenly matched. It's not like the Flyers are dominating right now. They're both in last place in the Metropolitan Division. And more precisely than anything like that, I think the one thing that the Flyers have to do tonight is get off to a real good start against San Jose. But the one thing I was really surprised about on Saturday night is that to see the Flyers goaltender Sam Ersson come back after a couple games due to an injury that he suffered against Boston last Saturday. And I think that's the biggest thing I took out of that he played very well after coming back. They lost Alexei Kolosov due to an injury on Thursday night against Tampa Bay, but they got the win out of it. That's the most important thing. And I think the positive that took out of it is that they lost a couple games. Yes, they were a little bit stressful, but there's a lot of positive to go forward with that. And I was really amazed to see what the Flyers looked on the last three games against Carolina, Tampa Bay, and like I mentioned, Florida as well. But before we go any further, there is, like I said, I'm somebody new here that hopefully that this Flyers show becomes something here. But the Flyers, the one thing that the Flyers need to do tonight, and this is my keys to the game, my X factor of the game rather, is that they have to get off to a real good start again. They did a great job on that on Saturday night, and they did very well. There was a couple fluky goals here and there that the Flyers found a way to either tie the game. Obviously, it didn't go in their favor though. But these are probably some weird fluky goals that I've ever seen by a Flyers club. Probably going back. We all remember that game against Chicago in 2010 when the Flyers lost the Stanley Cup to a fluky goal like that, and still to this day I haven't seen the puck go in. But aside that, San Jose's one team that sure the record says elsewise, but they're exactly in the same race as the Flyers right now, and trying to on the outside looking in. All right, let's check out our injuries and scratches tonight as the Flyers look to try to get off to a better start tonight as the first game of a 6-game homestand, as after tonight they'll be going up to Ottawa to take on the Senators on Thursday night. And for the Flyers as well, they look to try to do whatever they can to make sure that it's like a short road trip and they can come back home and get some points out of like these teams like Chicago and obviously like Ottawa. And a couple nights from now, they'll be playing against Buffalo, so you can get a couple points out of that too. The injuries and scratches tonight for the Flyers, it's plain and simple here for the Flyers. It's a very good mix here. So Matvei Michkov is back in the lineup tonight for the Orange and Black. Good to see Erik Johnson come back after missing a couple games due to an injury. I don't know if it was upper body or lower body. Ryan Poehling is a real good spot. Really good to see him come back tonight after missing a couple games, and he's a very good force for that fourth line, so that's really good to see. And who is out tonight for the Flyers, it will be Jamie Drysdale, who will sit out tonight, and I believe that's when Erik Johnson will come in to replace him. And Morgan Frost is a healthy scratch tonight, so that's probably why Ryan Poehling is taking over for that as Morgan Frost sits and Ryan Poehling back in the lineup tonight, or Matvei Michkov back in the lineup tonight for the Philadelphia Flyers. As before we go any further, we want to say this. Let's check out the starting goaltender matchup. In goal tonight for the Flyers, it will be Sam Ersson once again getting the start tonight for the Philadelphia Flyers after stopping 31 Florida Panthers shots on Saturday night against the Panthers, as he gets to tilt once again tonight. And he did a very good job, like I mentioned, and lost 4-3 to the Florida Panthers on that Saturday night in South Florida. And for the San Jose Sharks, it will be, I'm pretty sure it'll be Vitek Vanecek, because Mackenzie Blackwood played last night for San Jose and got a shutout out of it. I'm sorry, just trying to figure out like who was in goal last night for the San Jose Sharks. It was Mackenzie Blackwood and stopping 44 shots on the way to a victory. So I'm pretty sure Vitek Vanecek is in goal tonight for the San Jose Sharks. So, I mean, he's got a similar record to Sam Ersson. He stopped, or similar effect that he had back with his last start when he had 31 shots, but this time he lost the game to the Minnesota Wild 5-2. The last time the Sharks were at home, that was on Thursday night at SAP Center. And for the Flyers, my predictions tonight, I see a very good thing happening tonight for the Orange and Black. This is probably the one time that you can probably get a right game for the Flyers. It's a little concerning that they have lost a couple games here and there, but like I said, after the game on Ottawa on Thursday night, they are back home for a couple games here and there. So that will be good to see that the homestand will be very, very precise for the Orange and Black. So the one thing I really am impressed about is that you want to make home ice advantage, make sure that this is a very key for the Flyers here tonight. So for me, my predictions tonight, I hope the Flyers win. I really hope that they coming out on fire tonight. They have a lot of high expectations to see what they have in store. And a couple of weeks from now, I can imagine that's going to be like to see what they'll look like I said, against Chicago and against Carolina right before Thanksgiving, and then they take on the New York Rangers around that time as well. But the positive is that they've been in every game, so that's the one thing I took out of it too. So for the Flyers tonight, I really hope they get a good win. And for me, I think that's going to be the biggest key more than anything, to try to do whatever they can to get off to a real good start. Well, for everyone that made it all possible, I want to say thank you for everybody for taking the time to join my program here tonight. I really do appreciate it. But before I go, I have to say thank you to Mitch Kosky for taking me in, and also taking me and Joey Markson. And a couple weeks from now, like I mentioned at my opening, the debut of Paz and Fanatics show coming to Hardcore Sports Network. That will be in a couple weeks from now, right after Thanksgiving on November the 30th. So I just want to say thank you for everybody who tuned in. Just hopefully this becomes something new for me. And I mean, I haven't done this in a while, but I have to say right now, this is, hopefully down the road, I'll probably start to get more better at this again and again. But until then, now, thanks for everyone behind the scenes and thanks for everyone to make sure it happens. And my Aunt Marie checks in one more time and says, thanks a lot for everyone that's tuning in. I wish I had more time to kill, but it's exactly a 30-minute show, so I got to fill more time in. But until then, I'll be prepared next time. But for everyone behind the scenes and for everyone that made this all possible, thank you for everyone. Thanks for everybody for tuning in, and hopefully I'll see you guys on the other side.